You didn't stumble here. You were mirrored here. I know that sounds strange, but stay with me. Because what you're hearing right now isn't just my voice, it's your own reflection finally catching up. There's a reason you clicked, a reason you felt that pull, and it's not random curiosity. It's because something in you remembered, and the mirror in front of you is about to show you why. Most people walk through their lives thinking reality is a straight line. Cause, effect, one step leading to the next. But if you've been paying attention, you've already noticed the cracks. You've already had those moments where you thought of someone right before they called, or you had a dream that unfolded in your waking life, or maybe you felt a sudden wave of knowing you couldn't explain, but it turned out true. Those were not coincidences. They were signals in the mirror. And here's the twist. The quantum field doesn't reflect back what you wish was true. It reflects who you are right now. The mirror of reality has no delay. It's always showing you the frequency you're broadcasting, even if that frequency is hidden beneath your thoughts. So if you've been wondering why the things you want feel delayed, why the answers seem just out of reach, the mirror is showing you something you've missed. And what I'm about to share is the key that makes the whole reflection shift. Because this isn't about chasing what's missing. This is about realizing that your future self, the version of you who already lives in the reality you crave, is staring back at you through the mirror, waiting for you to recognize it. The reflection is here, and now I'm going to show you how to see it. Think of reality as a perfect mirror. Not the kind you glance at quickly before leaving the house, but a mirror that reflects your inner state with absolute precision. If you smile at it, it smiles back. If you frown, it frowns. But unlike the glass in your bathroom, this mirror doesn't wait for you to move first. It shows what you're vibrating at in real time, even when you don't notice it. The quantum field is the mirror, and your identity is the image being cast. This is why affirmations, vision boards, or endless wanting sometimes feel hollow. You can tape 1,000 desires to your wall, but if the person staring into the mirror is still carrying fear, lack, or doubt, that's exactly what the reflection will echo back. Not as punishment, not as cruelty, but simply because the mirror cannot lie. Notice how the smallest detail gets reflected. If you stand before a mirror with your shoulders slightly hunched, it won't correct your posture. It will show you exactly that, hunched. The quantum field is just as unforgivingly precise. It reflects the subtlest posture of your nervous system, the hidden tone of your self-talk, the unconscious beliefs you carry in your body. So the work isn't forcing the mirror to change. You can't stand in front of glass demanding it give you a different face. The work is remembering who you are when you stand before it. The reflection has no choice but to follow. Here's where it gets even more astonishing. The mirror is multidimensional. It doesn't just reflect one possible version of you, it reflects infinite ones. Every parallel timeline exists, and the one you're in right now is simply the one you've recognized most consistently. Each moment you shift your identity, even slightly, the mirror responds by shifting the reflection. And this is where people get caught. They keep staring at the mirror, waiting for it to prove something has changed, not realizing the mirror is waiting for them. They ask, "Why isn't my reality shifting yet?" But the reflection is already answering that question. Here's the pivot that changes everything. The mirror isn't delayed, it's immediate. If you think it's lagging, you've misunderstood what it's truly showing. I'll reveal the one myth about this mirror that keeps almost everyone trapped in cycles of waiting, missing the signal that was always right in front of them. The biggest myth about the mirror is this. People think it's showing them the past. They believe reality takes time to catch up, like their efforts need weeks, months, or years before results appear. But that's not how the quantum mirror works. What you're seeing right now is not yesterday's vibration. It's today's identity. The reflection is live. The delay is not in the mirror. It's in your recognition. Here's what I mean. Imagine you've just sent a message you really care about. Maybe it's to someone you're secretly hoping will see you in a new light, or to a potential client, or to a friend you want to reconnect with. You hit send, and then silence. Hours go by, maybe a whole day. Your body starts to tighten. You refresh the app. You stare at the screen. You imagine all the ways they could be ignoring you. And with every new anxious thought, your reflection in the quantum mirror shifts. You're no longer broadcasting openness or trust. You're broadcasting lack, doubt, urgency. And because the mirror reflects that, the silence only grows louder. But notice, what really happened? The external event didn't change. The message was already sent. The shift was internal. The reflection didn't delay. It instantly mirrored your new state. What you thought was waiting for them was actually waiting for yourself. This is why the myth is so dangerous. Believing the mirror is slow keeps you staring outward, expecting change to arrive later, instead of seeing how fast it's already responding. The quantum field isn't sluggish. It's immediate, precise, mercilessly honest. And here's the hidden gift. Because the mirror is instant, you can step back into alignment in a single breath. You don't have to wait weeks for evidence. You don't have to beg for proof. The moment you shift your identity, the reflection reorganizes itself. Think of that unsent reply or that unanswered silence not as rejection, but as feedback. The mirror is simply showing, this is the version of you you're broadcasting right now. It's not punishment, it's navigation. Most people miss this. They think silence means nothing's happening, but the truth is, everything is happening. The mirror is updating in real time, and you're being invited to notice the signal you were never meant to overlook. And now we need to ask the next question, the one that makes the mirror crack wide open. If the reflection is so precise, what is it really reflecting back at the level of your body, your nervous system, your hidden state? If the mirror is so precise, then what determines the clearest reflection? Your nervous system. Think about it. When your body is flooded with fear, urgency, or panic, you can't see the mirror clearly. The reflection becomes warped, like trying to look at yourself in a cracked piece of glass. Your identity signal scatters, and the quantum field reflects back mixed, distorted images. That's why you feel like things contradict themselves. One moment you glimpse possibility, the next you're dragged into doubt. But when your nervous system is regulated, when your body feels safe, the mirror smooths. Suddenly the reflection is coherent, and reality responds with synchronicities, alignment, and timing so precise it feels orchestrated. Notice how your best insights don't arrive in panic. They drop in during calm walks, quiet showers, or that moment you finally exhale after holding tension all day. That's coherence. Your body signals safety, your heart and brain sync, and the mirror reflects the version of you that was already aligned. Here's a simple way to experience it right now. Close your eyes for just 30 seconds. Place one hand on your chest, the other on your belly. Inhale slowly through your nose, but let the breath expand your belly first, then your chest. Exhale twice as slow as your inhale. Whisper inside yourself, I am safe to receive. Repeat this 2 or 3 cycles. As your breath steadies, notice the subtle shift. That's your field coming into coherence. You're not forcing the mirror. You're tuning your body so the reflection can finally stabilize. The mistake so many make is trying to think their way into manifestation while their nervous system is locked in survival. It's like screaming affirmations in front of a shattered mirror. No matter how loud the words, the reflection is broken. But once safety is restored, the mirror stops scattering. Suddenly what you've been asking for starts showing up, not as coincidence but as direct response. The field is finally able to reflect the version of you that feels steady enough to hold it. And this brings us to the deeper layer most people miss. Your reality isn't responding to fleeting moods or temporary bursts of positivity. It's reflecting something much more permanent, your identity. And if the mirror always reflects identity, not just states, then the question becomes, who are you being when you stand before it? Here's the pivot you've been waiting for. The mirror doesn't reflect passing moods. It reflects identity. This is why you can have a good day, feel high energy, even meditate or journal and get into a great mood. And yet the mirror doesn't shift much, because the field isn't echoing what you feel in bursts. It's echoing who you believe you are at the core. Think of it like this. If you walk past a mirror wearing a costume, the reflection will show the costume, sure. But the second you take it off, the reflection reverts to your true image. Temporary states are costumes, quick overlays. Identity is the figure beneath. So if you keep trying to manifest through hyped-up states, visualizations, rituals, quick dopamine hits, you're just changing the costume for a moment. But the moment your nervous system defaults back to who you think you are, the mirror faithfully reflects that identity again. This is why the question, why doesn't it last, keeps so many people trapped. They confuse state with self. They mistake a spark for a fire. And here's the subtle trick of the mirror. It doesn't care about what you wish you were. It reflects who you are being consistently. That's why people who quietly know they're worthy, even if they don't shout it, keep seeing doors open, while others who endlessly chase feeling high vibe without anchoring it in their identity find themselves cycling through the same reflections again and again. Notice how this explains the patterns you've lived, the relationships that keep mirroring the same dynamics, the financial cycles that seem to loop no matter what new strategy you try. The mirror isn't mocking you. It's simply showing the identity you've carried faithfully over time. And this is where the real work begins. Because the second you realize the mirror is tied to identity, you unlock the doorway to something much greater than moods or states. You unlock the possibility of stepping into entirely different timelines. Because if who you are is what the mirror reflects, then changing who you are, your identity, shifts the reflection into realities you haven't yet allowed yourself to see. And here's the cliffhanger. What if every parallel timeline is already waiting, like a hall of mirrors, and the only difference between them is the identity you choose to recognize as yourself? If the mirror reflects identity, then the work becomes anchoring that identity in your body until it feels inevitable. Not forcing, not chasing, but stabilizing who you are so deeply that the reflection has no choice but to follow. And to do that, I want to give you a simple toolkit, a mini protocol you can use anytime you feel the reflection wobble. These are not abstract theories. They are anchors you can return to when your nervous system starts slipping into old frequencies. The first tool is breath as signal reset. We already touched on this in a micro practice, but here's the deeper layer. Every inhale is recognition. Every exhale is release. When you breathe slowly, expanding your belly, then exhaling twice as long, you're not just calming your body, you're telling the mirror, this is who I am choosing now. Use it in the exact moments you feel fear or urgency spike. 30 seconds can shift the whole reflection. The second tool is identity scripting in the present tense. Not lists of things you want, but a single phrase that names who you are. For example, I am already the one who receives with ease. Repeat it quietly, but pair it with the breath. Inhale, recognition. Exhale, release. Over time, your body begins to believe it, not just your mind. The third tool is embodied posture shift. Mirrors notice posture. When you catch yourself slumping into doubt, literally stand up, roll your shoulders back, place your feet on the ground, and lift your chin slightly. It's a tiny adjustment, but the mirror reflects it instantly. The body is always broadcasting identity, and posture is one of the clearest signals. And the fourth tool is ritualized declaration. The field responds to choice, but choice must be witnessed. So I want you to use this space right here as your mirror. Write in the comments, I am already living my future. Let it be seen, let it be reflected, and feel how even typing those words anchors a new frequency in your nervous system. When you use these tools together, you stop trying to get the mirror to change, and you begin embodying the one who has already shifted. And every time you practice, you strengthen the identity signal until the reflection has no choice but to lock into coherence. But even as you anchor this, there are traps, subtle sabotages that pull you back into fragmented reflections. And if you don't see them clearly, they'll trick you into thinking the mirror is broken, when in truth it's only reflecting the split within. Even with the tools in your hands, the mirror has its own way of testing you. It doesn't test with cruelty, it tests with precision, showing exactly where you still send mixed signals. And if you don't recognize the traps, they'll keep pulling you back into distorted reflections. The first trap is urgency. The moment you start gripping reality, demanding proof now, the mirror shows you that very grasping. You feel delay, but the delay isn't in the field. It's in the tightness you're projecting. Urgency broadcasts lack. To disarm it, you have to breathe into the truth that you are not late. Every reflection arrives in coherence, not in panic. The next time urgency spikes, don't wrestle with it. Place your hand on your chest, exhale longer than you inhale, and whisper, I am right on time. That single shift smooths the glass again. The second trap is split signals. This happens when one part of you says, I want abundance, but another whispers, I'm not ready for responsibility. The mirror has no choice but to reflect both, leaving you with mixed results. You see flashes of what you want, then they vanish, and you call it inconsistency. But it's not the mirror. It's your divided broadcast. The way out is honesty. Sit with yourself and name the contradiction out loud. By exposing the split, you begin integrating it, and the mirror can finally reflect one steady identity. The third trap is over-control. This is when you try to micromanage the reflection, checking constantly, adjusting endlessly, staring at the mirror as if force will bend it. But mirrors don't bend to control. They bend to coherence. Over-control keeps you in survival mode, broadcasting mistrust. To dissolve it, you have to practice release. Take one small area of your life and decide, for the next 3 days, I will stop checking, stop refreshing, stop monitoring. I will let the mirror show me in its timing. You'll be surprised how quickly synchronicities appear when you let go of constant surveillance. Each of these traps, urgency, split signals, over-control, are not failures. They are signals. They're the mirror showing you exactly where your field is fractured. And each time you recognize one and recenter, the reflection sharpens. But here's the hidden danger. Even when you see the traps clearly, it's easy to compartmentalize your practice, to only enter coherence in meditation or only breathe when things feel overwhelming. The real shift happens when coherence becomes daily, woven into the smallest acts of living. We'll explore how to bring this mirror work into your ordinary days, walking, eating, speaking, so that every action broadcasts the identity you're choosing. The mirror doesn't wait for rituals. It reflects every moment, every breath, every word, every glance, which means the real mastery isn't in what you do once during meditation. It's in how you carry coherence into the ordinary. When you walk, notice the rhythm of your steps. Most people walk in rush or in drag, broadcasting urgency or exhaustion. Try slowing down just enough to feel your heel, and then your toes connect with the ground. Each step whispers to the mirror, I move from stability. I walk as the one who has already arrived. You'll be surprised at how the reflection of your day shifts when even your footsteps broadcast calm presence. When you eat, notice your pace. Eating fast is survival mode. It says to the mirror, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough nourishment. Eating slowly, tasting fully, signals abundance. Even if the meal is simple, the way you receive it tells the mirror, I am already living in sufficiency. When you speak, tune to the tone beneath the words. Most don't realize the mirror hears the nervous system before the sentence. A hurried I'm fine reflects as dissonance, while a grounded pause before answering creates coherence. Speak as if every word is a brushstroke on the reflection of your reality. And here's a subtle practice that threads it all together. Pause at thresholds. Before opening a door, before starting the car, before clicking send, breathe once with awareness. That tiny pause broadcasts, I choose the timeline I step into. It turns ordinary actions into quantum anchors. Daily integration is not about perfection. It's about consistency. Coherence in the micro is what magnetizes the macro. The mirror doesn't need you to perform rituals for hours. It needs you to live as the one you've declared yourself to be in the moments where no one else is watching. Because here's the secret. It's in those small, unseen moments that the reflection shifts the fastest. Walking, eating, speaking, pausing, each becomes a quiet declaration. And as those declarations accumulate, reality begins rearranging itself in ways you could never have forced with effort alone. But if ordinary moments hold this much power, then what happens when you expand it into the larger domains of your life, your relationships, your creativity, your health, your purpose? The reflection doesn't just shift in subtle ways. It begins to reshape everything. When the mirror stabilizes in daily moments, something remarkable happens. The reflection starts spilling into the bigger arenas of your life. What once felt stuck begins to soften. What once felt out of reach begins to draw closer. Because the identity you carry into a meal or a walk is the same identity the mirror reflects in love, work, and destiny. Take relationships. The mirror doesn't reflect what others should give you. It reflects the way you see yourself in connection. If you walk into conversations carrying the identity of unseen or unworthy, the mirror will faithfully echo it back through people's responses. But if you breathe coherence into your body before you speak, anchoring I am the one who is recognized, the mirror has no choice but to return recognition through others. This is why the smallest inner adjustment can suddenly shift how people treat you, or creativity. So many stare at the blank page or canvas thinking, what if I fail? That identity broadcasts immediately, and the mirror reflects blockage. But the moment you choose, I am already an open channel. Words, colors, or sounds begin to flow, not because the mirror gave you permission, but because it reflected the new identity you stood in. Health follows the same law. If you identify as someone broken or fragile, every sensation reinforces that reflection. But if you begin embodying, I am the one restoring, the mirror collaborates with your cells. Healing isn't forced, it's mirrored. And purpose, this is the grand reflection. You don't wait for the mirror to show you meaning before you step into it. You step into the identity of one who carries meaning, and the mirror reflects opportunities, connections, and timing that align with that sense of destiny. Let's ground this in a scenario you've likely faced. Imagine you're in a job interview. You sit down, nervous, rehearsing your answers. Inside, your body whispers, "I hope they see I'm enough." The mirror reflects that nervous plea, and the interviewer senses hesitation. But if, before you even step into the room, you pause at the threshold and breathe, "I am the one already chosen," the mirror shifts. Suddenly, your answers flow, your presence deepens, and the interviewer reflects back interest instead of doubt. Nothing mystical changed in them. The reflection changed in you. This is how the mirror stretches beyond micro moments into every domain of your existence. And when you realize it's not just about your actions, but about the orchestration of life itself, the question becomes unavoidable. What if the mirror was never separate from the divine, and surrender is the greatest power you've had all along? There's one more layer to the mirror that changes everything. Up until now, we've spoken of it as reflection, neutral, precise, immediate. But what if the mirror isn't just glass? What if it's alive? Because when you begin to live in coherence, you start noticing something uncanny. The reflection doesn't only echo you, it orchestrates around you. Synchronicities appear, doors open without effort. People show up at the exact moment you needed them. It's as if the mirror isn't just reflecting your identity, but conspiring to guide you back to a truth you've always carried. This is the spiritual dimension. The mirror isn't separate from the divine. It is the divine, showing you moment by moment the face of creation looking back at itself. When you shift identity, you're not bending reality. You're remembering your place inside a field that already knows your name. And here's the paradox. The more you try to control this mirror, the less alive it feels. It becomes static, mechanical, unresponsive. But the moment you surrender, not in defeat, but in trust, the mirror begins to breathe again. Surrender is not weakness. It's the deepest power. Because when you release the need to force outcomes, you step into the identity of the one who is already held. And that's the identity the mirror has been waiting to reflect. Think of the times in your life when you finally let go, when you stopped trying to push, and something unexpected but perfect arrived. That wasn't luck. That was the mirror responding to surrender. It was life showing you. When you release, you return to truth. This doesn't mean you stop acting. It means you act from a state of alignment, not desperation. You speak because you're full, not because you're empty. You move because you're guided, not because you're scrambling. The divine mirror reflects your being, not your begging. And as you allow this, the whole world takes on a different texture. Conversations feel scripted in your favor. Challenges turn into initiations. Even delays feel purposeful because you sense the mirror aligning timing with precision beyond what your mind could calculate. This is why surrender is not the end of your power. It's the beginning of it. When you let the divine mirror hold you, you discover that every reflection was never random. It was orchestration, designed to remind you of who you've always been. And now we arrive at the final revelation. Because if the mirror has been alive, divine, and guiding you all along, then the only thing left is to choose the identity you will stand in as the reflection locks. And once you do, the field can't help but rearrange to meet you. So here we are, full circle. You didn't arrive at this message by chance. You were mirrored here. The field brought you face to face with the reflection you were always meant to see. Look back at your journey. The mirror has shown you urgency, doubt, control, but also clarity, coherence, and identity. It has shown you not just random fragments of life, but the exact signal you were destined to recognize. And in that recognition, something subtle but irreversible has shifted. Because now you know, the reflection is never delayed. It is immediate, alive, and divine. Every breath you take, every posture you choose, every word you speak is being mirrored right now, broadcasting who you believe you are. And the mirror, unfailingly precise, returns it to you in the form of people, opportunities, synchronicities. This is not about forcing the mirror to change. You can stand in front of glass begging it to smile, but it will only smile when you smile. Reality works the same way. The question has never been, when will it arrive? The question has always been, who am I as I look into this mirror? And now you've seen it. You're not the version scrambling for proof, or the one chasing what feels out of reach. You're the one who has already stepped into the reflection where it's done, where it's yours, where it's lived. So here's your closing ritual. Type it into the comments and let the field register your declaration. I am already living my future. Write it not as hope, but as recognition. Because the mirror will reflect what you are, not what you wait for. Remember this image. Every time you stand before the mirror of life, you are looking at yourself across infinite timelines. The reflection that stares back is waiting for you to recognize it. And the moment you do, the glass dissolves and you step through into the life that was never separate from you. This was the signal you were never supposed to miss, and you didn't.